Hello everybody, welcome back to our crypto spiritual energy update for energetically sensitives, empaths and conscious investors. My name is Jona Bryndis. I'm an energy coach, an energy healer at transCODES and crypto staffer, and I'm presenting the data that we collected here over the last week at transCODES with energetically sensitives and try to contextualize it for you, how it may or may not affect the cryptocurrency sphere. Last week's prediction was relatively positive, and it really looked like we were going for a pivotal shift here. All signals are there, and then something happened. So there's of course a lot of speculation, and whenever there's a lot of speculation, there's the cry for crypto conspiracy. And we've known this all along, okay? So cryptocurrencies are a disruptive power here within the financial, but also, the entire distribution of wealth market, so to speak. And therefore, it is to be expected that there is resistance. So whenever there were new inventions that would disrupt existing technologies or industries, then there was a lot of FUD, fear, uncertainty and doubt that was spread by the establishment, okay, to divert from the potential, success, and market adoption of this new technology. And this is what we've been experiencing for years here with cryptocurrencies, latest since last year, when the cryptocurrency market actually attracted the attention of, the CEOs from large financial institutions. And so what we're seeing here is something that personally I've observed many different times. So this is not the first time. The same happened with internet, really. The same happened with email. The same happened with smartphones and so forth. And there is a certain inevitability in some of these technologies. And you know this about me. I've been reporting about cryptocurrency and the crypto energies here for a year and a half, I guess, in detail. I've mentioned it before as this potential sort of force that can help us to break through the old paradigm, due to its decentralized, its open source, and some of its technological powers to really update and upgrade existing systems. Okay, so therefore, this is not so surprising. And as we experienced a little bit of a bull run last week, which I still think is there, it's just inhibited right now by some FUD news. Okay, so there was some stuff that happened here last week, hacks or supposed hacks, on Bancor, on MyEtherWallet, the Chrome extension, the Hola Chrome extension. Guys, I don't really pay attention to these things that much anymore. You make sure that you have your private keys, somewhere safe, not on your computer. You make sure that you don't invest more than you can afford, okay? So we have a situation here where we are investing into Internet 3.0 or fourth industrial revolution at this birthing state. We're not even in early adopter state. And so you have to be willing to lose it all right? Because that's the attitude that puts your energy into neutrality, into this place of sort of curious witnessing of what is going on. So you can experience it and the ups and downs, and we've seen a lot of this here since last December. And I said that, this time here now, the summer solstice time also has a connection to the winter solstice time. So we're going to see a repeat and an undoing of a lot of that stuff. And I'm still standing with my prediction that this here last week was the pivotal point for the crypto market to shift into its real potential. And there are some signs, or there's some indicators for that around the acknowledgement process of cryptocurrency ETFs through the CBOE. That's the largest ETF and futures trading organization here in the United States. To accept cryptocurrencies, you know, in this way that you can actually hold them on paper, but you're not actually holding them. This is really what ETFs are. And this is very trust-inducing, and this also encourages hodling in people versus what we've seen in December, where the futures market took on cryptocurrencies, and we thought this was it, you know, and we were waiting for the institutional money to move in and up the market cap, you know, to $1 trillion. You know, this is kind of like what we're all waiting for. And yet the opposite was the case. So more manipulation started to happen. And whether this is just an expression of, you know, how all these market expressions, you know, in capitalism work or not, or whether it's truly manipulated, or whether there's a conspiracy. Those things I will, you know, just put aside for now, because it's really not important. These things will always be there. There'll always be a force, you know, that is trying to slow things down, that is inert. So there's a pinch of optimism that is needed, but without going into fantasy, without going into unrealistic expectations. So what we're looking at here is a situation where we've gone through a prolonged time of correction and weeding out, which was actually positive. There's a lot of regulations that are still, you know, legal regulations that are still in the making, that still need to be finalized. You know, how the large countries, how they look at cryptocurrencies, if they see it as a currency or if they see it as a security, which would make it having to abide to all the laws that apply to stocks. And everything is developing into the favor of cryptocurrencies right now. So I'm actually not concerned at all. I think the you know, the news that is coming forward here now, that the SEC actually showing signs of being crypto or more crypto friendly, and you know, also introducing the idea of ETFs with cryptos, and that some of the large exchanges such as Coinbase and Binance actually not only just applied but also gained the Bitcoin custody rating. These are things that are very, very important for the market, guys. And you may not see this in the market cap, you know, even though I said, oh, watch it, it's going to happen within 2 months, everything is going to be undone, and, you know, it's going to, you know, double or triple. It's market capitalization. You know, this may still be happening. The signs are all there. So the crypto sentiment and reading out collective energies, all right, they're really at this place where the manipulation, the illusion, and all the things that are coming in through the old paradigm cannot be held anymore, okay? And I think if we don't look at cryptocurrencies too much sort of as a pirate a currency, but more so as something that is valuable, that is can really help companies or even entire countries to improve their infrastructure, and that this takes time, and that this is you know, just like in business overall, you know, that 95% of the contenders that are, you know, playing in this field right now, that they're not going to make it. Okay, if you just sort of get to this more pragmatic way of looking at it, and simply, you know, investing into what feels integrous to you, you know, what according to your own due diligence and your own research that feels like, you know, you want to be part of this, and then just literally wait it out. So right now I'm still very optimistic, but without being sort of fantastical about it, without the tinfoil. Okay, the collective energies here for this coming week show that there is a natural progression in regards to taking down old illusions and old manipulations. And this will be positive for cryptocurrencies. Overall, the memes here that will probably accompany us for the next week. So you see the barometer here, the intensity levels in the light green. So I think that this is a positive time, okay? You don't really have to ICO search or, you know, try to hunt new listings or anything like that, you know, to stay really balanced with your investment here, with your portfolios. But the overall memes will be, of course, hodling. If you have a business, you know, start thinking about how to accept Bitcoin, how to integrate blockchain perhaps even into your business organization if it makes sense. You know, just because it's blockchain doesn't mean that it has to be better. All right, so you know, this is the DODL effect, you know, that you start making it work for you. And you know, see the FUD that you see going on, you know, about hacks here and there. Not that I'm you know, saying that all of this is not true, but try to see this all with the salt of grain and know why you are here, okay? Know why you are interested in cryptocurrencies and what you're doing, namely, you know, looking forward to these future opportunities. So sit back, go into JOMO mode, you know, the joy of missing out. You do not need to be, you know, worried about, you know, these pumps and dumps that are going on right now. If you do feel that the Bitcoin price, or, you know, Bitcoin is still sort of the pole horse. So whenever you see the Bitcoin price move, the altcoins, you know, and the other tokens will, you know, move with it. So if you feel like it's not going to go much lower than it is right now, which I believe, you know, then it's maybe a good time to stock up, because there's other things you can buy with Bitcoin, and if you buy it at a cheaper price, then you literally buying those future coins that you will buy at a cheaper price as well. Next up here is our crypto integrity rating, and this is something that is growing more and more popular, and I want to say a few words about this. Okay, so what are we doing here? So this is literally a byproduct of the energy work and the energy healing that we do at transCODES and Crypto Staffer. We have you know, ways to observe energies. We have ways to read into you know, the intention of people, of contracts, of businesses, and so forth, that is actually rather scientific. So there is much less tinfoil in there than you think it is. There is a numeric scale that we use in order to determine the consciousness or integrity level, if you will, of a company, of a person, of a project, and we can, of course, apply, transpose this onto these altcoins here, onto the projects, the technology, whether it's safe or not. So we're looking at a minimum truth level of 200. Okay, so 200 is a big barrier, guys, because this is where something becomes integrous. So capitalism itself calibrates below 200. So just so you know, it's unrealistic to expect values here like in the Enlightenment area, okay, because if somebody decides to do a business within the existing business paradigm, it is to be expected that we will get ratings right around the 200 mark. The lowest I think we've ever had was 153. So there's a you know, weeding out process that happens by itself, you know. So businesses that are not integrous, unless they're in, you know, complete scams, which is also part of the integrity rating here, to verify certain things from this perspective, from the energy code perspective. But other than that, it is to be expected, you know, that the business really has the objective to make money, you know, to make business, and it can only survive if it is you know, on a vibratory level that allows them to exist in the current business environment, which is roughly, you know, around 185 on the scale. And so I want to also emphasize that our testers here do primarily blind testing. There's a target reveal at some point where the testers can retest. And we also have, of course, I mean, myself, I'm the one that reads you guys' suggestions. And by the way, it's really, really, really important that you let us know what you want us to test. All of the tokens that we've tested today in applications, those are all suggestions from you. So please let us know, okay, what you want us to test. We're building a huge database here, but it is experimental. We do not know yet how the integrity level of a company, of a token, can really predict anything like an outcome, or whether or not it has success or failure built in. All we can do right now is build this database at this time. So we started doing this 9 months ago, and keep observing. Sometimes we need to retest. Sometimes we have to differentiate between the token and the application that this company that used the token, you know, either as a utility token or as a currency or crowdfunding method, you know, and have to test them in different categories. So the categories that we're having right now, and we've actually added a new category today here, are ICOs, although I have to say that testing ICOs is not really in the foreground anymore. You know, we have fantastic altcoins out there, fantastic companies and technologies out there. And so I will, you know, once in a while I will test ICOs. But I'm moving more towards testing several tokens and also exchanges and wallets. So more the application route here. And man, this is so yellow. Why am I so yellow today? No clue. Okay. And mining, investment pools, things, you know, that could be interesting for you as conscious investor. Then, you know, the consciousness level of crypto celebrities. I thought that was interesting, you know, because most of these people have a pretty big influence over the development of certain projects. And then new this week, we've added a category, DApps or DApps, decentralized applications. And that's something I really want to do a shout out for. Please, guys, send me suggestions for decentralized apps that run on the blockchain. There aren't that many yet. I have already the contender for next week, and of course this week. But beyond that, I'm looking for suggestions from you. So please let me know what it is that you want us to test, which decentralized applications you want us to. Now, there are, of course, decentralized applications such as wallets, such as exchanges, if they are decentralized, that we are testing anyway. But what I mean is maybe games or you know, social media content. You know, we looked at one we looked at an ICO last time, and this was then also the cue for me to go into the DApp testing, namely the DApp that is based on the token that is called Hilo or Hilo, and the DApp that they have on the market that is actually a really fun app is called TOKENSMASH. And that is something, you know, for someone like me who works with the crypto sentiment and tries to see sort of where the collective energies carry people and what they're interested in and so forth, is very, very interesting. So I actually spend a bit of time with TOKENSMASH. So here you see the results that we had testing it, and this is very interesting for me because this was the first app that we tested. And the software functions, so the, you know, like how well it functions and you know, how we like it as users, how easy it is to use. Calibrated at 206, that's above truth, that's relatively high. It's a relatively high value. The organization tested at 192, And this is something we see with all, pretty much all altcoins and tokens here, is that the team or the people behind it calibrate slightly lower. You know, that's the business, the capitalism aspect of it. And then the use case or the technology. So how useful is it really? All right, and what is so the value, the added value for people? And it's actually kind of cool, you know. They it's a fun app. It measures the crypto sentiment. So, you know, basically you vote, you know, if you think that it's some thumbs up or thumbs down for a certain cryptocurrency, and then it will give you the results and show you, you know, how accurate you were in comparison to the majority of the other people. It allows you to earn HILO or HILO, and it's actually a pretty integrous app. So I was actually positively surprised and would recommend you guys. And there's nothing you can lose, but if you sign up, then you can also gain tokens with it down the road. So I liked it. Next is the first out of 4 tokens that we tested here this week. And you know, it's interesting because when we put the tokens together here for today or for this week, we didn't really think about how they relate to another, because those were all suggestions that came from you. And the next token that we tested, or you know, the token here that we tested for this week, token number 1, is Tezos. Okay, so Tezos, guys, was one of the largest as far as like the funding, the capital that was, you know, that was gained here through the initial coin offering. It's one of the largest ICOs last year. Okay, and very interesting German company, providing an infrastructure, you know, and a governance for smart contract, basically geared towards businesses. You know, to write their own smart contracts in a very simple way so that they could prove, say, maybe in accounting, the delivery of a product. Like Walmart is moving towards this now with their blockchain project, where they can prove, where they use the blockchain to prove if a product that is being sent to a client is paid for or not. And this gives the client a certain key, and then with the key, you can open the package. Without the key, you can't open the package. And so that was actually quite interesting, very sort of intellectual, very smart concept behind Tezos. And then something happened. And those of you who've been around here for a while last year, you may remember this. Tezos is the mystery token that Cliff High mentioned. And there was a lawsuit that started forming between the CEO and the founding members, the brother and sister, if I remember this right. And so there still is a little bit of this blocking energy here when you test Tezos. It's fairly integrous with 199 as an investment. It's actually not bad, you know, so it's not a scam. The people, the team calibrates at 189. That's all right. You know, that we can't really expect more. And the technology in the project itself at 198, that's pretty good, guys. Okay, so we have a total of 195. That's almost, you know, trustworthy, but fairly integrous. However, you know, the blocking energies there creates a lot of pressure and waiting for the next phase. So there's a need for legal restructuring, and I would say that we should retest Tezos probably in a year or 2 from now. They still, if I remember this right, have a freeze on their or parts of their tokens. So I'm not sure actually what the legal situation is right now, but they can be traded. They can be traded now, and so I suppose that they can be owned as well. But anyway, the legal restructuring has to happen here. So my thumbs up, but, you know, with a little but. It's not over 200, so there always is a little bit of caution needed then, you know, because it means that there are things that are needed in order to be entirely trustworthy as an investment. Next up is a token that had a lot of hype here in these last weeks, almost months, Digibyte. Okay, so Digibyte was one of the very few tokens that had a little bit of gain, actually looked pretty good here for a few days, but also experienced several runs of pumps and dumps, okay? And so I'll be honest with you, as an investor myself, I have been a little cautious with Digibyte because of the hype around it, okay? So there's several psychics and several people predicting that Digibyte is like the big, 1000x or 10,000x type of investment. And so I was a bit skeptical when we started testing it, and I have to say I'm positively surprised. So it's an interesting project. It provides an infrastructure, a scalable infrastructure for payment systems. It has actually, let me look this up here real quick, very cool collaborations in play. So what it does is that it it creates a very secure and faster infrastructure for blockchain technology, but I think it's really specialized on payment processing. And some of their collaborations that they've announced, is with UTrust. I was a big fan of UTrust when they ICO'd last year. And some other really cool projects. So it's looking pretty interesting for me, regardless of my suspicion or my awareness that there's a lot of hype around it. And so the actual token as an investment, as what it can do for us, how it can perform for us, calibrated at 196. That's pretty good. That's at the upper level of capitalism, so to speak. The people calibrated slightly lower, 190, which is also to be expected. But the project itself and the technology behind it calibrated at 205, guys. That seems like only a few points, but in energy integrity testing, this is very significant. Okay, so it comes out as a total rating of 197. And is looking good to me. The hypes, make it susceptible to pumps and dumps, and so, that's nothing really the team could really prevent from happening. But overall, it's trustworthy and integrous. So I'm curious what we're going to see here in the future. Okay, so next up is similar, and this is here, what I mentioned earlier, the context of what I was testing here all week wasn't really aware to me until I put them all together, is Veritasium. Now Veritasium again, as well, I was very much on fire. It was the first ICO that I participated in. It was very interesting for me because what it actually allows is a sort of, an infrastructure for digital assets or digital transactions to be verified, to be basically also to be transferred. So in other words, it allows, banks or mortgage companies or whatever, to use the blockchain and to use the Veritasium smart contract environment to create verifiable digital assets, which can help to use it for credit ratings, but also, of course, down the road, to produce financial products, okay, on the blockchain. So it is an interesting product or an interesting company. I've liked it from the get-go, but I was a little disappointed when we tested it. So the token as an investment calibrated 197, okay, that's, close enough. The people and the team around Veritasium only at 186, so just not okay. Okay, so there are things there, and I want to say, this is the depth of testing that we do. We don't just do the numeric scale based on the map of consciousness, we also do remote viewing and energy code testing around it, and there was a lot of data overlay around the team and the leader. All right, so it's like there's things are being concealed, and there may be some technical problems, but I think it is a really good business product or project. So at 191, it's just okay, and we have to see what comes out out of Veritasium. At the time, when it ICO'd, it was one of those first, really, really cool products that showed the disruptive potential that the blockchain has and that cryptocurrencies have. But now, as things have developed already, it's not really that unique anymore, and it's very hard to tell, to be honest with you, as far as the use case of Veritasium is concerned. This will all very much depend on the team, on the leader, on the contracts that they get. Next up is Cardano, and again here it's an infrastructure token. All right, what makes Cardano, of course, stick out is that it's almost like a scientific project. So it has an entirely different history. It's based on scientific philosophy, as it says on the website. But really, what it is the culmination of really, really intelligent cryptographers coming together, trying to produce something that could be called sort of the most scalable or most reliable and easy to use blockchain smart contract language. Okay, it uses Haskell as programming language, which all these things are very interesting, and of course the personality behind Cardano. The pull horse here, Charles Hoskinson, which is also the crypto celebrity that we picked today to do the integrity testing with, has been an icon for many, and has actually pulled a lot of people into cryptocurrency. So there is a good chance that Cardano is going to be around for a long time, and that is going to be way showing for many other projects as well. There's a wallet, for instance, data list that is coming out here soon. So, I'm keeping my eye on it. But as far as really the uniqueness, even though it is, more secure and faster, according to Charles Hoskinson, I don't know if it is really that competitive anymore. I believe that the people behind it are really, really cool. So the investment itself with 195 is so lala, but the team actually calibrates above 200. That's huge, guys. There's not many tokens that have a team that calibrates above truth, where their pure intention is to provide, for the greater good of all. And the technology itself is really high as well with 204. So remember, it's a logarithmic scale. So even though it seems like it's just 5 points, right, between 195 and 200, this difference is much, much bigger in the larger scale, and can make the difference between a successful long-term project and just a successful, like say, short-term project. Okay, so it's a trustworthy project, can be pulled into lower vibratory places through pride or trying to be right. So there's a bit of sort of scientific superiority here involved, but it does provide an integrous infrastructure and is therefore really good for the entire sphere. So thank you for Cardano. I think it is contributing in many different ways. Our last testee, contender, is not another token, it's ABRA. It's a wallet / exchange, and like the others, this was a suggestion from you guys. And I have to admit, I heard about it. I heard other YouTubers talk about it. I read reviews, but I wasn't really so keen on trying it. And the test results are actually really cool. All right, so we're looking at a exchange wallet and fiat gateway, very similar to Coinbase in a way, or Exodus, if you will. It provides support for 25 different cryptocurrencies. The wallet function calibrates at 205. That's extremely high, guys. And the people in the organization with 194, this is something we're getting used to here now. That's on the upper, that's, pretty good from what we can expect. But the technology and the safety of ABRA is with 204 really, really high. So the total rating for ABRA as a fiat gateway, wallet and exchange of 201, that's really nice. That's a trustworthy wallet, exchange, and gateway, has a visionary potential and a greater good in mind. And I'm very excited. I will test ABRA now as a result of these ratings myself. Okay. So this concludes the tokens or applications, and the last integrity rating that we have for you today is Charles Hoskinson as a crypto celebrity. So this is an interesting thing for me to do. It's a whole group here of testers, so it's not all just based on what I think. In fact, it's not based on what I think at all. But it was interesting for me to go into the testing. I was really curious. Charles Hoskinson was the first person that I actually heard talk about blockchain, explain it in a way that made absolute sense to me. Okay, so he was my personal initiator into understanding cryptocurrencies, into getting an overview over the entire sphere, not just the technology, but also the legal aspects, the accounting aspects, and the business aspects. And I have a lot of respect for Charles Hoskinson. So it wasn't a surprise to me that after we had all submitted our ratings here, that we came up with a rating that is higher than 200, making him trustworthy, which is pretty good at 218. Not only trustworthy, also integrous. So I would go and have a coffee with Charles at any time. He does show those can get pulled into pride and superiority. Okay, so this is something that I can relate to. This is also a result of sort of scientific intellectualism. But he is a driving force in restructuring the overall infrastructure for financial assets and financial wealth distribution. So he's definitely my favorite person to learn from. Very integrous and has a really cool way of explaining things. Can get pulled into tirades, hate tirades. But again, here I can relate to this. I do this too sometimes about certain subjects. So 218. That's a thumbs up on going out for coffee. All right, everyone. So this concludes our crypto spiritual update for week 29, July 13th to 19th. And I hope I'm not completely off here with my barometer. So last week, at first I thought, oh, cool shot that I made. And then, it really turned against me. So I hope that you understand that this is really an exponential field that we're in here, and that of course there is no predictability. When you have forces such as institutional money and governments and so forth, and regulation agencies involved, entire countries involved in a market, all right, we're going to see some manipulation, that is for sure. Is it a conspiracy? I don't think so. It is the normal inertia that a market shows when a disruptive force or a new infrastructure arrives. All right. Thank you guys for coming. I could not see you here during this live chat, so I'm sorry if you texted me. Please use the comment section, of course, to comment or to ask questions, and to give me your suggestions for future integrity ratings, and especially for decentralized apps. Thank you so much. See you next week. Bye-bye.